The Bayeux Tapestry, a masterpiece through the ages. The Bayeux Tapestry is a monumental 230-foot-long embroidery that tells the story of the Norman conquest of England in 1066. In June 2025, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and the French President Macron attended a high-profile ceremony in London to sign an historic agreement that France will loan the treasure for the first time in 950 years at the British Museum in the fall of 2026. Source of national pride and debate. The British press announced the deal as a long-awaited and triumphant return to England, where the tapestry was likely made, and a diplomatic coup that will strengthen the relation between France and the UK across the English Channel. Or whether the medieval masterpiece, considerably fragility, has acceded some doubt. Tens of thousands have signed a French petition calling on Macron to cancel the loan, in line with advice from conservators who believe any transport, or whether minimal, represent a danger. They says it is one of the major works in the history of humanity which we must preserve at all cost for future generation, the petition reads. An enduring source of inspiration. The Bayeux Tapestry brings to life classic medieval and modern stories about military strategy, intelligence, betrayal, and revenge, showing that the war concept is a human being and will never change. What is the Bayeux Tapestry? The origin of the Bayeux Tapestry remains uncertain, but it's generally believed that Bishop Odon, the half-brother of William the Conqueror, commissioned its creation. While the tapestry provides a detailed narrative of the Norman conquest, it should also be understood as a work of propaganda, crafted to highlight and legitimize William's climb to England. The tapestry story began in 1064 and culminating in the decisive Battle of Hastings in 1066, which gave William his enduring epithet, the Conqueror. It depicts the dispute over succession after the death of King Edward the Confessor in January 1066. Initially, Harold Godwinson is crowned king, but William of Normandy challenged his claim. Following Harold's death at Hastings, the Normans consolidate their power by defeating further resistance and constructing over 1,000 castles to reinforce his domination from 1100 to 1135. Some 8,000 Normans moved to England. The tapestry portrays William as a great strategist and powerful leader, emphasizing his victory. The way to use cavalry was totally new. Also, the use of popular beliefs such as Halley's Comet, which was interpreted as a god sign blessing the expedition. For a long time, it was popularly believed that Queen Matilda, William's wife, and her attendants made it. However, most scholars agree that it was likely produced in England during the 1070s by a single group of women, but there is a controversy referring to Canterbury monks working by team. Each team crafted specific segments such as horses and soldiers. Artistic techniques and storytelling. The size of the masterpiece, 230 foot long by 2 high, depicting 58 scenes, 25 in France, 33 in England, including 10 for the Battle of Hastings. Entirely stitched by hand using woolen thread and a linen canvas. The maker used 2 techniques, stem stitch, which was used for the lettering and the outlines, and cotching, which filled in the figures. Only 10 dyes were used to create deepness. Some 380 Latin words, 623 characters, workers and soldiers, 994 animals, including over 200 horses, 438 plants and trees, 37 castles and moats and buildings, and 41 ships and craft, plus countless small objects, a real today's cartoon. The artist, who will remain unknown forever, did manage to create faces, expressions, and postures. Just look at Edward at the beginning of the tapestry, who look wisdoms and benevolence opposed to our punishment, and then the collapse, cut into pieces by Norman cavalry. First time displayed in 2 journeys. First, the embroidery was exposed in the nave of Bayeux Cathedral for about 2 weeks a year for 5 centuries and never left France for 950 years until 2026. In 1562, monks warned of the imminent arrival of a troop from Huguenots brought it to safety, which saved the tapestry, which was potentially rediscovered in 1721. On the death of Nicolas John Foucault, former intendant of Normandy and scholar, a large roll of cloth was discovered in his estate without indication and no special care. Finally, in 1792, when France during the Revolution went to war against Europe, troops were raised. At the time of the departure of the contingent from Bayeux, it was noticed that one of the wagons in charge of the supply did not have any cover sheet. According to local tradition, a zealous participant offered to cut out the tapestry kept at the cathedral to cover the cart. Warren belittling the Bayeux lawyer Lambert Leonard Forestier arrived just in time to prevent this use. Napoleon in the Bayeux Tapestry, propaganda in public display. During the early 19th century, Napoleon Bonaparte used the Bayeux Tapestry for propaganda purpose as he prepared plan to invade England. He ordered the tapestry to be brought into the Louvre Museum in Paris, where it was displayed from November 1803 to February 1804. The exhibition attracted a large crowd of Parisians eager to admire the historic embroidery to further really support and inspire his troops. Napoleon had an illustrated catalogue produced featuring scenes from the tapestry. Over 400 copies of this catalogue were distributed among the army, aiming to ignite a conquering spirit and reinforce the belief that an invasion and a landing in England were achievable. The tapestry was returned to Bayeux in 1805. The tapestry was exposed in Galerie Apollon, the same place where on October 19th, 2025, the famous jewelry were stolen. In 1885 to 1886, Elizabeth Wardle, wife of the very wealthy merchant, financed a copy of the same size that is now in Reading, England. Hitler and the Bayeux Tapestry. On September 1st, 1939, French authorities took urgent measures to protect the Bayeux Tapestry. They removed the tapestry from its display case, carefully rolled it up, and secured it in a bunker located in the cellar of the Hôtel de Doyen. This action was intended to shield the historic embroidery from potential harm during the conflict. On June 23, 1941, the tapestry was moved to the Abbey of Monday. There it was examined by German scientists, including Herbert Jankuhn and Karl Schlabo, both archaeologists affiliated with the Ahnenerbe organization. It was likely during this period that Karl Schlabo stole a small fragment of the tapestry. On August 20th, 1941, the tapestry was transferred again, this time to the Château de Sourches in the Sarthe region. It remained there until June 26, 1944, when it was moved to the Louvre Museum by order of the occupying German forces. During the liberations of Paris on August 21, 1944, General von Schultz recounted that 2 SS men approached him, stating they were responsible for transporting the tapestry to Germany. When informed that the Louvre was under the control of the French resistance, the SS men gave up their mission and left without the tapestry. After this event, the Bayeux Tapestry was exhibited in the Gallery of the Italian Primitive at Le Louvre in the autumn 1944. On March 2nd, 45, it left Paris and returned to Bayeux. Welcome home. This is the place where she stayed at the Hôtel de Doyen. In recent years, it was revealed that the Nazis had stolen a tiny fragment of the Bayeux Tapestry during their occupation of France. The missing part was later discovered in the estate of Karl Schlabo, who had been commissioned by the Ahnenerbe to remeasure the embroidery in 1941. In 2025, Germany announced its intention to return the fragment to France. Since 1983, the tapestry has been on display at the Bayeux Museum. The museum is scheduled to close on August 1931, 2025, to undergo a major 2 years renovation costing 35 million euros, about $40 million. Myth, mysteries, and gaps. In early 2025, historians announced a remarkable discovery, the lost residence of Harold, depicted near the beginning of the Bayeux Tapestry as a significant stop on his journey to Normandy, has been found in the town of Bochum. These findings shed light on one of the many intriguing details represented in the tapestry's scenes. The tapestry embroidery is also notable for its more risque elements. Historians have been fascinated by the inclusions of nude figures, both humans and horses, with a total of 93 prominently depicted penises. Some of these were censored when a replica of the Bayeux Tapestry was created in England during the Victorian era. Naked men and women can be seen in the borders surrounding the main action, and their significance remains unclear. However, some scholars believe they may symbolize the inherently corrupt of impure nature of humanity. One of the most persistent mysteries surrounding the Bayeux Tapestry is its sudden and incomplete conclusion. The narrative come to an end immediately following Harold's death, omitting what would have been a monumental finale, William's coronation. In fact, research indicates that the tapestry is missing between 8 and 10 feet of its original fabric, leading most experts to believe that the final scenes, potentially including William's being crowned on Christmas Day in 1066. This section looked like to be lost. The circumstance and timing of this loss are still unknown, leaving this gap as one of the tapestry's most enduring enigma. Just have a personal message. Tapestry, we miss you a lot. Please come back as soon as possible. Hopefully, you'll never find new friends on the other side of the pound. Just come back to your real place. Come back to Normandy.